I'm like the least technical filmmaker that I've met.
If you have ever been at all interested in the YouTube filmmaking space, you know who this guy is. And if you've been living under a rock, well, let me introduce you. This is Danny Gevirtz, a fantastic filmmaker and editor who has built his career on making scrappy look professional. Like, really professional. And even though he got his start and is known for his fantastic YouTube videos, over the past couple years, he's actually been making his first full-length feature film, I Think I'm Sick. Danny was nice enough today to come on the show and talk with me about the movie, as well as answer all of my nerdy editing questions about it.
The Adobe Premiere interface is just like an extension of my mind at this point.
This was such a fun conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, okay guys, really quick, I know we're so excited for this episode, but Danny told me that I had to tell you that you can actually go watch the movie now. It's going to be out and available for all of you to go watch. I've seen it. I got to watch it before this episode. It's so good. I couldn't recommend it enough. This is so exciting. If you are watching this before June 7th, you can pre-order and watch the movie. That's going to be available. Links are going to be down in the description. Go check it out. If it's after June 7th, I've been told it's going to be the exact same length, so just whenever you're watching this, you can either pre-order and watch the movie on June 7th, or if it's after June 7th, you can watch the movie. This is so exciting. So cool that everyone can now see it. It's a fantastic movie. And one other little awesome tidbit. If you're in LA, on May 30th, they are going to be doing the last theater screening of the movie. So you'll get one more chance to go see it on the big screen in the New Art Theater in LA. Tickets and links for that will also be down below. But anyway, let's get into the episode. This one was so good. Danny Gevirtz, dude, welcome to the show. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you today. And I just want to say right off the bat, obviously today we are here to nerd out about the editing of the movie, but yeah. I really enjoyed this movie. Just again, speaking from the film Jake critic perspective, I thought it was really fantastic. And again, I watched all the behind the scenes stuff. I felt like my expectations were tampered because again, it's just the reality of what this project was. And
yeah,
dude,
you saw how the sausage was made a bit.
A little bit, yeah. And
Yeah.
I was very impressed with watching this film. And dude, just thanks for coming on to nerd out about it. I'm so excited.
Thanks, man. Thanks. We actually just chatted off camera for 30 minutes. So he's being coy right now.
I'm trying to glaze you up real
we've
good.
done all these before. Yeah.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah, and to be transparent, he originally wanted to talk about the editing style of more of my YouTube stuff, and we kind of forced him to have to talk about the movie for cross-promotional purposes. So we're kind of strong-arming our boy Jake right now.
Dude, I was so happy to do it though, because again, I was telling you, I was just I was going in low. And again, I love those videos, and I think there could be some questions where we actually hit that because I think it's relevant. But when you suggested the movie, I was like, well, of course I'll talk about the movie. Absolutely, I'll talk about the movie.
Then I made you watch an hour and 46-minute movie.
And for a little bit of backstory, I wanted to go to the Portland screening, which was kind of the closest I could find. I'm out of Idaho.
Honestly, I'm glad you didn't. So we did private screenings in Portland. Was an older theater. We were just kind of grabbing stuff that we could feasibly afford.
Yeah.
And it was this crappy Best Buy projector, and the colors of the movie were all off. It was playing back in stereo in a big theater.
Yeah.
Put all this work into a 5.1 surround sound mix, and it's just coming through flat. I mean, I feel like most people didn't notice, but the whole time I'm sitting in the back of the theater just biting my knuckles why does it look so yellow?
Right, which you of course are acutely aware of. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe I could feel better that I got to sit in the shed with a bowl of ice cream and watch it on my big setup then.
You watched it on your iPhone?
Yeah.
It's even worse.
Well, I don't know. Based on what you just said,
speakers.
the iPhone 14 might have been better.
Probably. Yeah, at least correct color.
But all of that to say, I definitely wanted to try to see it. And I told my wife, I was like, man, we got to figure out how to go watch this. And, just being busy, having a kid didn't quite pan out. So I'm so tickled that it got to work out this way. Really, again, before we dive into the editing, like, I mean, not to just glaze you even more, but like, I think the craziest thing to me about this film, and again, like, you're a YouTuber, right? That's what we all know you as. And I come from like YouTube editing background. Like, I love YouTube. I love your channel. I love just the whole YouTube space. And so the craziest thing to me was just like, I did not feel the budget on the editing, on the cinematography, the acting, which totally surprised me. Like, dude, your actors crushed it. And then, like, really the only thing that I would like maybe say I was like, oh, you can tell like budget wasn't there, was just like the atmosphere, right? Like the world building of like, there was a couple of sequences with a bunch of extras at school, right? And I was like, I feel like if there was more budget, there would have been probably more of that to build up just how, because like high school's dumb, right? And those images just like take you right into like the craziness of high school. And I was like, okay, that's maybe the one thing that I was like, if you were to say pick the budget, that would be my giveaway. But other than that, it's like I was just completely impressed. So, dude, great.
Thanks, man.
Congrats to you and your
Appreciate
team.
that a lot. Yeah. Thanks for even taking the time to watch it. It's a big ask to have someone watch your hour and 46 long project. So dude, I appreciate you taking the time and saying all those nice things about it.
For sure.
Yeah, I would give it like if I had to rate it, I'd give it like a 78%.
78. Yeah. That's passing, right? That's a C. That's a high C.
yeah. Like, I mean, I watch it, I'm like, there's so much to improve upon, but obviously, it's my first feature film and can't be too hard on myself. Like, even like you want to talk about more of the editing side, like you're talking about the editing budget. $0 for editing budget, which is why I edited it.
Yes.
Couldn't afford anyone who could edit it probably better than I was. But I mean, I wrote it, I directed the film. Like, it only did like a lot of the producing myself as well. So it only made sense that, I was the one who took the reins on the editing. Never edited a feature length film before. Never edited like a traditional narrative piece in my entire life. I'm editing this movie and at the same time I'm on YouTube like looking up how to like cut dialogue scenes.
Dude, oh my God. That was one of my questions.
Yeah. So like no idea how to do it going in, but I don't know. I've always been confident in like just like my ability to just like figure it out.
Yep.
And I kind of like, that's kind of just like how my filmmaking career has been my entire life, putting myself in the fire and just kind of figuring it out the best that I possibly can. I remember like so long ago, like I was doing like my first, I guess like big production team, like a camera operating gig.
Yep.
And I show up on set and they're like, have you ever used the, what's it called? Not the Ronin. What's the other one? The Movi.
The Movi.
Have you ever used the Movi before? I was like, oh yeah, like I use the Movi all the time. And like I had never even seen a Movi in my life. So like I ran to the bathroom, I was on YouTube just like figuring out how to operate a Movi. Came back and like had the YouTube page up, was like balancing it and like had it ready to go and just like figured it out on the fly and like had a successful shoot. And that led to like a ton of big projects that ended up DPing for that production company, like Nike and like Converse projects.
Dude, that's incredible.
So it was like nothing scares me anymore with filmmaking. It's like I got done the film. I was like, all right, step 4. How do I edit this?
Yeah. For sure.
Like I didn't know how to plan it. I didn't know how to write it. I didn't know how to shoot it. I didn't know how to edit it. So it's just like one more thing to figure out.
But I mean, that is like such a life metaphor. I mean, like once you accept just like, hey, this is how like life works, like, dude, that's the click to just like open so many doors where it's like, okay, I gotta just go figure it out. And that is I love that. That's crazy. Everything you kind of hinted at there, I think I could definitely ask some more specific questions about that. I'm again,
for sure.
Everyone knows my background. I'm kind of a YouTube editor, and I've never edited anything narrative. I've never done anything probably longer than, you know, a half hour full project. So I'm just so curious about like how you tackled this. So I think my first question, which is just going to kind of grease the skis, is like, what NLE did you use to edit this movie?
What's an LE? Oh, software.
Yeah,
So that there you go. That's like goes to show like how experienced of an editor I am.
yeah, dude.
Adobe Premiere. I use Premiere through and through.
Uh-huh.
That's what I started using from the beginning, and like probably better options out there, but I'm an old dog that you can't teach new tricks to. So I'm just because Adobe has my money for the rest of my life, apparently.
Dude, no. I mean, I asked that question just out of pure curiosity because I'm a huge believer in like use what works. I hate I hate the amount of hours people waste trying to like pick their favorite. It's like, no, it's not about picking the favorite. It's about picking the one that gets the job done.
It's just like it's so integrated in my brain.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
The Adobe Premiere interface is just like an extension of my mind at this point.
Yep.
So it's like anytime I don't have to waste like a single split second in the editing process where you would like lose a train of thought or I don't know, like maybe like you're watching through and like you heard like something in the sound design was like a bit off and like when you're finished watching through you want to go back and fix that thing. But if you have like any moment where you're like, oh shit, like what control panel do I have to open up to fix this little sound design bit? Like anything that slows you down is just like needs to go away for me when it comes down to the editing process, because it is such like a difficult thing. Like sitting down and like getting yourself to actually do the editing work is like the achievement itself. Like there's so many more things I'd rather be doing. Like I am like an outdoor, like need to be outside kind of guy through and through. So like anytime I have to like shut my blinds and like stare at a computer screen, it just like sucks a little bit of my soul away. So like I need to make sure that when I'm sitting down to editing, there is nothing that is going to take me out of that zone, so I can just like get it done. Harness up Sansa, we can hit the hiking trails, you know?
Yes. I mean, anytime you sit down to edit anything, I'm with you. It's so daunting to just start. And I think it's because, and I'm sure you feel this way too, I'd be curious to get your thoughts, but the number of decisions you have to make and knowing the ripple effect of all of those choices through everything else that you do. It's like the hardest part is just like making that first cut, because like then you're on your way, you know, you've started, and it's crazy. I feel that's so hard.
I've always been like really good at pre-production. Like I put a lot of work into pre-production, and like I always kind of know like what the first cut's going to be, or like what the first like placement's going to be. And I always find like that helps me like get through the editing. Like I like the movie specifically, or like any narrative project, like the pre-production is like pretty refined.
Okay.
And like what you're shooting is like so like on the nose of like how the edit is supposed to progress.
Yeah.
So like if anything like that, the movie and like narrative stuff is like it's all there. It's just the matter of like getting yourself to do it. You know, it's like like once you have like the blocks laid out, like the dialogue pieces laid out of like the best takes, like you're looking for like the best reaction to a certain line or whatever, and there's like some finessing there that like requires a little more like creative thinking. But when it comes to just like getting like the structure together in a narrative thing, it was like the easiest thing I've ever done in terms of editing. Yeah. Like I spent so much time writing this thing to like the point where it needed to be this exact specific way.
Okay.
So it's like as soon as we got in the edit, it's like you just like throw your blocks on the editing table, and it's just like all there.
Well, and again, peel back that curtain for me and all of us a little bit on like when you say pre-production, like was everything drawn up and storyboarded ahead of time, or was it just the script? Or like when you say you're sticking in these chunks, what are you sticking those chunks to in this movie?
Yeah, every single scene is like storyboarded out.
Okay.
Structured pretty well. I like to use like a lot of reference images where I'll like storyboard out using reference images of like this exact same frame size and shot type that I'm looking for, and just like scene by scene, like even to the point of like one person delivers a line and the storyboard will cut to like the other angle.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do like I'll be pretty aggressive in pre-production. On this movie, it was like so many scenes that like I didn't get to do that for every single scene, but this like story was like such a part of me. Like from like I spent like a year and a half writing the script and like refining it, and like it's like so ingrained in your head of what things are supposed to look like. Like even if it like wasn't laid out, like it is all just like up in here of how it's supposed to go.
Right.
It's kind of a weird thing. I've obviously done like a ton of documentary work, and I still do documentary work, which is more finding the story, and the editing's definitely more difficult, and like in documentary editing, like you're almost another director, like kind of like putting together like a story in a specific way, and starting and finding like that first step and everything is a little more difficult. But nah, man, like with this movie, it was like I know what this is gonna look like. If anything, like editing was more so just like patching up stuff that we missed because of our low budget or whatever reason we had to fix something in post production. That was like the hardest part of the edit. But for the most part, it was just like took a lot of time because it was so long.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that part is just astronomical to me, because it's like I think about how much work can go into just like a 10-minute video.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there multiplying that by 14, or no, not 14, but close to that. I mean, it's huge. And so,
right.
The other question I had with that too, regarding like the pre-production and stuff like that, was there anything that didn't make it into the cut? Like we keep talking about the budget and the scrappiness of this film. Like, did you overshoot anything, or was everything used?
Yeah, we definitely overshot some stuff, which I would attribute more to me not being an experienced writer.
Yeah.
And just like not recognizing when fat needed to be cut.
Okay.
Which I think would have saved us on budget, saved us on time, because we were shooting like way too many scenes per day. I think we had like 22 shoot days, and we were shooting like 6 to 8 scenes a day, which is too many scenes to shoot in a day.
Okay.
Like you'd get set up, you give the actors like 2 takes to like get it right, and then we gotta like quickly break down and move on to the next scene.
Wow.
Can never get lighting right, can never get like everything the perfect way that you need it to. So like I think the first cut was like 2.5 hours.
Oh my God.
And the movie got down to 1 hour and 45. So 45 minutes of movie that didn't need to be in there.
Wow. Yeah.
Which again, like, is my fault as a writer. Like I told you this before we got on. Like, I didn't make this movie like thinking it was gonna be like this movie that we like throw up on Netflix and Amazon Prime and like all this stuff. Like, I was just curious to see if I could like make a movie. Like, no one was ever gonna like come to me and like pay me or to like direct and write a movie if I had never done so before. So I just really kind of wanted to like prove to myself that I could do this, document it on YouTube, and just like share my experiences and whatnot. So the fact that it even came out to be like a coherent film that like it's getting into film festivals, it's winning awards, and like there's like a group of people that like, obviously there's people who hate the movie, like that's with anything, but there's like a group of people that like freaking love it. Like, I've had people cry to me after screenings and like relate to it so much, and like so people have said it's like their favorite movie. Like, it's not my favorite movie, like I would never say that. But like the fact that it turned into anything other than just like me like figuring out how to make a movie is like awesome. But like, there are so many mistakes that I made from every aspect of this entire thing, and it starts kind of with the script. And I definitely wrote too much and like became married to things that I didn't need to be married to. And then there's other aspects where like, we just like messed up scenes and we just couldn't include it in the movie, and had to find a way to just like cut it out, like some scenes just like looked really bad,
Yeah.
or like just like didn't work at all when we ended up doing it.
Yeah.
So like those got the boot, obviously. So, but like, you know, you find a way in the edit to just like kind of like patch that up and make it feel a little more like that never happened.
Couple of thoughts there on my end. I meant to say this earlier too. Like, I will say, since having my son, I'm a lot more emotional, but I used to be like pretty much stone cold. Like,
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
cried at movies ever. Like,
Yeah.
but no, dude, I was sobbing.
cried.
I was crying. I mean, it was funny because I was just like, yeah, this doesn't happen, and I was sobbing. I personally, unfortunately, can relate to the story pretty closely, so that's probably a big part of it.
Right.
But like, I would also say too, the other crazy thing, and again, this isn't editing related, but like, I knew it was coming from a mile away. I was like, I like, as soon as we started down, I was like, oh fuck, I know what is going to happen, and I still just cried my eyes out at the end.
Yeah.
It was like, and that's just a true testament to. I was like, Danny wrote this really well.
I know why people cry. It's like, it's not the reason that it's happened. It happens, and like the character doesn't react how you think they're gonna react, and like that's like the heartbreaking part.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
I'll try not to spoil it though. But
yeah.
like,
I know, it's like, wait, can we?
If there's like,
I want to talk, but we can't spoil too much of it. But you guys need to watch it. You need to watch it.
Yeah. And but also like, I guarantee like you laughed like a bunch.
Yes. No. And I've got a whole section on that.
So like, what I always say, like I'm gonna do two things. And like anything I make, I'm gonna make someone laugh and I'm gonna make them cry. Like those are like my two goals for like any like deeper project that I try to make. Like I want people to feel like both ends of the spectrums, because it's like comedy is like the heal all to like tragedy, you know.
Everything.
And you can't tragedy, like if the movie was just like straight like tragedy the entire time, it would have just like been a snooze fest, and like you kind of would have been like, whatever.
Yep.
But like the comedy just like made you feel relaxed and like get to know the characters, and like your guard was like completely raised. So when that like heavier stuff comes in, it's just such a gut punch, and like you just like have a more visceral reaction to like the what ends up happening, you know?
Oh, for sure. And yeah, dude, Spanky killed it. He was making me laugh so much. But well,
dude, Spanks, he's my so he's one of my best friends from childhood, Wes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we grew up together.
That's amazing. Oh, no wonder that just shows he got exactly what you wanted from that. Oh, dude, that makes so much
like
sense.
I always knew like Wes was like the funniest dude in the world, so like his role was perfect for him. And like Spanky is a role where it's like, if you're not funny, that character quickly becomes very cringy and annoying.
Oh, for sure.
But like, if you have a funny actor, like you'll see it. Just like Spanky is like hilarious. Like
dude.
He's the reason. Like I have to obviously watch the movie a lot. Like I edited it. Like I'm constantly going to like film festivals and like showing it for people. So like I have to watch the movie a lot. And literally the only way I can get through the movie over and over is because of Wes's performance as Spanky. Like he still makes me laugh every single time.
Yeah, I was curious. Like, how many times do you think, because you edited this movie, like how many times do you think you've watched this movie?
Oh man,
hundreds, right? Maybe thousands.
It's hard too, because like every time you make like an adjustment, like even at the end when you're like, all right, I'm almost at picture lock. Anytime you make a slight adjustment, you have to rewatch the whole film to make sure like nothing else got messed up.
Yes.
So like every night for like 3 months, I watched the movie. like in its entirety, like after changing bits to make sure it worked, or make sure I didn't like accidentally delete an audio chunk, or like
have a song
whatever it was,
like 3 frames or something.
Yeah, which happened many times. You know, like I like it. It's like the file. I started out like real organized, and like by the end, like when I was like almost hallucinating from editing this thing, like Like there's just like millions of project files I saved, like last picture lock 44, like, and it's just like an absolute mess in there now,
Dude.
But yeah, I've seen it way too many times. But it is always nice to watch it with a new audience, and like I don't like consider myself like I'm not a comedian, you know, but like I like understand like humor and like what makes people laugh. So my biggest fear the first time I was watching with a live audience was that they weren't going to laugh when they were supposed to laugh. So I remember sitting there the first time watching it in a full theater, and the first joke hit, and like the theater just erupted with laughter.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was like, all right, it works. The humor works. And just like throughout the movie and just like seeing when people laugh has been like such a treat for me. So
well, and I think what's so interesting about that is, I mean, like writing a good joke is kind of hard for a lot of people in the first place. Like I'm with you. I think I've got some funny streaks for sure. But like when I watch this, it's like, well, the crazy thing is you have to write the joke. The person has to deliver it well on camera.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, again, walk me through this part. Like, I know, even just from the dorky editing I've done, like timing is everything. If you're trying to be funny with editing, like, I mean, were you just like in there, just ever so slightly changing cadences and that kind of stuff to make sure everything hit when you wanted? I mean, you had to have been, right?
Yeah. I mean, comedy, like stand-up comedians are like good based on their timing and delivery.
Yeah.
So like you're trying to like edit that into the film, and like if there's like a slight second of pause between like one word or whatever it is, the joke just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then like it's also like finding like there's a scene where I almost just says actor name Connor Russell, who played Will.
Yeah.
He's meeting Spanky for the first time at the pool, and they're just like kind of sitting there, and there's like a lot of humor just comes from Spanky yapping, and then cutting back to Will's reaction, just like, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening? Like that is like exactly what his face is saying. And I think a lot of the humor comes from just showing the reaction of the other person in the situation.
Yeah,
especially with Spanky's character, like. The humor very much comes from just like everyone else just being like, is this guy for real?
Yeah.
Because he's such an outlandish character.
No, and that is a great point. I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, like Will almost being us as the viewer, kind of just being like, who the fuck is this guy? Because that's like how we feel. We're like, whoa, he's coming on strong. It's like, okay, Will thinks so too. This is funny.
Like and it's like I don't know, he's just like this kid who like everyone knows he's the kid who tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
And and like the first thing Spanky says to him is like, holy shit, man, it's a huge fan. You know, like a huge fan. Like what? Like huge fan of his work of trying to kill himself. So it's like it's also like very much just like situational humor too. It's like something that shouldn't be funny is so funny in this scene because it's just like tackled straight on.
Well, and I think that shot, I'm trying to remember, I think that shot was in the trailer, and it hit perfect for me because I think like a few days prior, my
Harry
wife
Potter
and
reference.
I had gone and watched like a showing of Goblet of Fire with like a live orchestra or whatever, and I was just like, dude, this is such a good joke.
The boy who lived. So it's funny at first Wes didn't understand the reference.
Oh really?
Yeah, so he's talking. I was like no, like Voldemort.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh. And then he just like delivered it perfectly. Just like from saying Harry Potter.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
In that scene too, there's like the whip pan to like the kid that eats like peanut butter out of the girl's private part. It's so hard not to talk about this and spoil or like leave out context.
Yeah.
But like he talks about David and the camera whip pans to David's face. And it's just like the dorkiest kid of all time.
Here's another question. So like that whip pan shot, you said roughly you had like 2-ish takes of everything. Like, how many of that one did you have? Because that's hard timing, right? I mean, a whip pan.
So that was all. Yeah, we did like we did the whip pan with the full take, and then we did like probably 5 where we just whip panned. He did his line, we whip back, which was like super easy to just like probably took like 2 minutes to shoot 5 times.
Yeah.
You know,
You think 2 is kind of your average of like number of takes? Because that seems low. Again, I've never done narrative, but like that seems low.
yeah. Some seeds were like that, like
Okay.
where we're running out. Like, for example, there's a scene where I'm on the back of a golf cart with my FX3 tracking groups running and having conversations about like why took his own life.
Yes.
It's like he say, she say, that's cutting back and forth. And like, that's like would be a pretty complex move.
Yeah.
For the most part, like you have a lot of actors on roads, moving, running, there's dialogue. We originally had a steady cam, but that day it rained and we lost so much time like during the day and the sun was setting so fast. I just like sent the steady cam home, hopped on the golf cart with my little FX3, threw the Venice out the window, and we did one take with every single group, nailed it, moved on to the next one, and we shot that entire scene in 15 minutes.
Dude, that.
So like that was one take, and then there was times when like super long monologues, like we gave the actors like a couple takes to nail it, but for the most part, we did a lot of work in pre-production to just like prepare, and they came in like very, very dialed on their lines to begin with. Like I was lucky enough where I was able to find just like the best people for these roles. Like there's a lot of talk like when you're making a film and going to like bigger festivals that like it's really hard for our film to get into because you don't have A-list actors, right? And like I think like these actors in this film are like A-list talent. Like they're all phenomenal, and like this movie like is what it is because of the actors. And like I just got so fortunate that we were able to find the right people for a lot of these roles, and like a lot of them like Connor is like a trained actor, like he plays Will. Connor Russell like does a lot of Broadway stuff, incredibly professional, like so good, like takes direction like no one I've ever seen in my life. And then like Wes is just like a maniac. Like he just he like hears a line and can just spit it back and can improv and can like do anything. Like he's so smart. And like this was his first feature film. And then Tia Tardy, who played Robin, was not an actor. Like she ran track with my wife, who I ran track with on the same team, but I was older. I didn't met her, but she had reached out previously, like wanting to get into this area from like the behind the camera standpoint. But I knew she like did acting in college, and she was kind of interested in arts in general, and like she kind of like fit like. Exactly kind of what I was looking for. So we had her self-tape, and like her self-tape was just like so much better than everyone else we were finding at the time. So I was like, oh Jesus, this is awesome. And then Coach A was just like my actual coach from college track and field. Like I told him he had a small role, quote unquote, so he thought he was coming in for like one cameo, and he was like there, like delivering dialogue, like he had a whole ass role. Which so it's funny, like seeing my coach in there.
Did he give you crap for that, or was he like pretty cool with it, or like that's so funny that you just like
he was
threw
cool
him in there?
He's like the coolest. Yeah, and it's like he didn't have to act. Like that role was like him to a T.
Right.
Like that's how he actually is, and like I've had experience like. A lot of those experiences are like things that I just like experience with him. Like he's like that kind of guy.
So the singing scene, is that a real thing he's done?
So that part didn't happen. Okay. that is his favorite song.
Dude, that's still so funny though. Oh, that's so good.
Every time I like have a meeting or like if someone says like you don't have A-list actors, and like it's like why does it matter? Like
no.
Like if anything, it makes the movie better because it feels like these are actually like the real people. Like you don't know them from anywhere else. Like, and it doesn't take you out of the movie. Like for you watching, like you obviously saw the behind the scenes, so there's like some aspect to it. But for someone who's never seen the behind the scenes, like Connor is Will, like Tia is Robin, Wes is Spanky. Like you don't know them from anything else. And I think that's like really special to have in the movie.
A-list actors didn't pop out of the womb. A-list actors, you know, like Mark Hamill was an absolute nobody before he like blew up in Star Wars or whatever, you know, like.
Do you know I just filmed something with Mark Hamill?
No. What did you film?
You didn't know that? I thought.
Which one?
I wasn't sure if you brought it up. It was like a commercial for Columbia and NASCAR. They branded one of the NASCARs as the X-Wing. So we went to Mark Hamill's house and just like filmed like a little like social commercial spot with him.
Was this on YouTube? How did I miss this?
Nah. I didn't really talk about it much, but after this, I'll send you the pictures of me with Mark. It's so cool,
dude.
Like I was like grow up as a massive Star Wars fan. Like my dad like showed it to us when we were little. We had like the special edition VHS box where like Darth Vader's face like popped off. You had like the first 3 movies.
Dude, I probably broke our VCR rewinder with those movies. Like, I mean, I rewatched them so much. And it's so funny because I'm sure I'll get flack for this, but like I was like roughly my son's age when I started watching the OG trilogy, and I was like, I'm going to keep that tradition alive. And he loves it. And I'm just like so over the moon. And he doesn't even want to watch the other ones. Like he's like, Dad, I want to watch the Luke ones. And I'm just like,
yeah, well, don't let him watch the middle 3.
No.
1 through 3, they suck, man.
Yeah, I've tried a couple. I've tried like the first one because that one's got all the, Jar Jar and the darkiness. And I was like, maybe he'll like it.
He doesn't even like it. Watch it.
He doesn't even like it. He's like, I want to watch the one with Luke. And I'm like, oh, that makes me so sad. Those are my favorites. So, dude, you got to send me that picture. Yeah, I'm a huge fan because like you, I mean, I've been watching them since I was like 3, and they were like, I had way too many Lego sets. They were formative.
I like don't do much commercial work these days just because like I don't really enjoy it much. But when they said Mark Hamill was gonna be there, I was like, I can't turn down an offer to meet Luke Skywalker. Like, this is unreal.
So you had kind of hinted at it earlier, and I definitely wanted to ask more about it, but you said you didn't know how to edit dialogue, which again kind of blows my mind because I felt like that was definitely one of the strengths of the movie. And I'm just curious, again, I love the behind the scenes, the peel back of the curtain of just like, how do you edit dialogue? Like, how did you tackle the editing of dialogue? Because I think I don't know, like let's start there, and I probably have some follow-up questions, but it is hard. I haven't tried it a lot, but from what I have, it's like, whoa, this is clunky, and there's a lot of finesse here. So maybe kind of walk us through what you learned and how you approached it, because I'm so curious.
Yeah, well, the good news is that there's like an infinite number of good examples out there of good dialogue, and like an infinite number of bad examples.
Yeah.
So like one of my favorite movies, and like a movie that like definitely had a lot of inspiration for I Think I'm Sick, was Manchester by the Sea.
Okay.
And it's like free on Amazon Prime, so I could like watch it as many times as I wanted. So I like really studied like how they went about dialogue, and like when they like cut on a line, or like when they flip back to like another person, or like when did they cut to a reaction shot in the middle of someone delivering a sentence, and just like kind of saw how like they went about it, because I love the way that movie's paced and edited. It's like a little bit slower of a pacing, which I would say like Itis is kind of like, just because there's a lot of like deadpan like reactions and stuff like that. So I really just like used like that in like some other movies and TV shows as my North Star of like how to go about this. And eventually like you just kind of like get in a flow of like the conversation that you have. Like I had the best takes kind of lined up, and just like, someone says something like obscure, and like in that moment I'm like, I kind of want to like see like how Will would react to like Robin saying like she just took a huge sloppy shit, or like, or whatever it was, you know? So like that like you just kind of get in the flow of the conversation of like what matters here right now. Like, does it matter that I'm still, looking at Robin waiting for Will's reaction, or would I rather see Will's reaction? Or like, do I want to like, see Will reacting to Robin saying something emotional before she finishes her sentence, and watch Will digest what she just said before he starts to talk? Like the pool scene is a good example of that, and was probably the hardest dialogue conversation for me to edit. Because there was a lot of like them like figuring each other out for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the first time Will and Robin are like actually sitting down and talking, and like it kind of leads to like a deeper conversation at times, and like how each person reacts to those different things. So yeah, it's just kind of like figuring out the flow. Like you do a pass, it'll be clunky. Do another pass or fine, and then you just eventually watch enough where you just like feel like you know exactly how it needs to go.
Yeah.
I'm like the least technical filmmaker like that I've met.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big vibes guy, you
Yeah.
know. So it's like how it's just like you get into the edit. It's just like how is this feeling? Like how do I want to like what do I want to see right now?
Yeah.
And like that's how I go about it. Like I don't really know much technical stuff to begin with. Like before we even had this conversation, I'm fumbling around with the audio of a camera I've owned for 4 years, and like you think I'd have it figured out, but I don't. Like I just want to go out and like make stuff and like make people feel something from my film. So it's like
For sure.
yeah, I use a lot of references, what feels right.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'll just kind of figure it out. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like an intuitive thing or just like spending a lot of time doing it.
And I agree with all of that. I mean, and again, everyone's scrappy. Like that's the thing. Like we all don't have it figured out, right? And I love I love your mentality. But I think personally, in the little bit that I've done, and I think you're kind of getting there. I mean, reference is huge, but then also the other thing that I usually tell people is like just like be aggressive. Like cut so much more tighter than you think, because I mean, like when we're sitting here talking, there's a lot of dead space, a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like editing, you'll be amazed sometimes that like space is almost intentional. Like you use it when you need it, but for the most part, like it happens. Yeah. Like you're saying, it's like vibes. It's all about the vibes. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Space can definitely be used like as in comedy.
Yeah.
Like I said, like there's a lot of deadpan comedy in this, and like space has a lot of to do with like why that works in the film. Like, there's a scene in the library where Will is like speaking to this like over the top librarian, and like he just like goes off, and like then you just cut back to Will, and he just like
he just
okay. There's like this long pause before he says anything, and I think that's like, without that pause, like it wouldn't be as funny.
And here's another kind of, I guess this isn't also super editing specific, but like you said, having the reactions to people's shots. So, and again, I've never shot a movie, but like you're not using two cameras for those. So, I mean, are you actually filming like, hey, here's Robin's line, and then here's Will, how would you react to that? Like those are two separate shots, right?
We film... Like we make them like do the conversation together.
Okay.
Like if we use the diner scene, like they're sitting at the table doing the scene together. We're filming Robin. They go through all their lines, then we flip the camera over to Will. We go through the entire thing over and over again. So you still get those moments on both takes.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's basically 2 takes, but the scene itself is acted. Okay.
Yeah, we're not like filming like intentional reaction shots or anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I
mean,
it would certainly be helpful.
Have those reaction shots because of the way you shot it. Okay. Perfect.
It's definitely like it would be helpful to have 2 cameras. There was a lot of times where like I really liked the way like Will was delivering lines when we were on Robin's angle, but we couldn't use that because the camera's not on him.
Right.
And it's also hard from an editing standpoint trying to make them feel like they match.
Right.
Like the conversation is happening at the same time, because none of the conversations in the film are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
It's all so having 2 cameras. I mean,
that's crazy.
It's like standard. Usually, I feel like on a bigger budget production, they would have 2 cameras running, potentially even 3, to get a 2-shot. So you can kind of work off the same takes. But we obviously didn't have that luxury.
No, that's super fascinating, because that's kind of my question. Is like I'm assuming, like you said, that's how they would do it on other movies, but I don't know. I mean, who's is it? The guy that does The Killer, Scorsese, right? Isn't he
Fincher?
Or Fincher? Fincher's super famous for just like a million takes, right? So it's like
I mean, they shoot 1 scene a day, so like Yeah, if you're like set up and like that's all you have to do that day, like sure, like let's get it right.
Right,
but
exactly.
but like when you have eight scenes to shoot, you're not like worrying about getting it perfect. You're just pretty much just getting it in the can.
Well, and in some ways, I feel happy for the editor of a Fincher movie who has that many choices, but also sad because it's like, dude, that's a
Yeah.
lot to go through.
I feel like if that's the point, or if that's like the case, like Fincher knows what takes
Yeah.
he wants the editor to use.
Yeah.
So he probably like gives them like two to pick from.
Yeah, for sure.
That was another nice thing about like me doing the editing. It's like I didn't have to like communicate like another step. Like I knew what we messed up on set, and like I knew like I didn't have to communicate how to fix that to anyone else. Like I knew I could just like be the one to do that. And
yeah,
also it was also nice like because we didn't have time or the luxury for me to like be reviewing like dailies or like seeing what we shot on each day. Like we would finish, I'd be so tired, go home, sleep, come back the next morning and shoot the next set of scenes. So like I didn't really know what we got, like trying to remember back like 3 weeks ago to what we were shooting.
Yeah.
So it was nice I wasn't just like handing that off to like someone who like I didn't fully trust, and like I could just kind of like digest everything by myself and just like have full control.
I am very fascinated to see like this year, next year, just within the next couple of years, because I mean the fact that you wrote, directed, I mean, and edited, like I mean the pillar is just like Danny, which again, like you said, I think there's just such a huge advantage to the vision not changing that way, which could be good and bad, but I think that I don't know, I'm just so interested to see, like, I think you will have started something or already are, because it just feels like there's more people trying to maybe think about doing this that wouldn't have before, where they would have been like, I can't do it all. And now it's like, well, wait, Danny did.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I need to like crack at it.
And I also just like, I like doing it all. Like I like owning the project. Like when it's my baby, I like to raise it myself, right? And it's like, I don't do filmmaking because of like any other aspect other than like, I like doing it. Like it's too hard. Like if you don't like doing it, or if you're just doing it for money, or I mean, if you're just doing narrative for money, probably better choices. But like, I don't know. It's like too hard for me to not just like enjoy what I'm doing. So like, I wouldn't enjoy handing it off to somebody else. Like after I've like put all this work into it, like maybe it'd be helpful and like maybe I could start on the next one. But like I want to nourish this child all the way and see it through. Yeah. I'm also like a bit of like, I'm like a chill dude, but like when it comes to like my projects, I'm like not chill.
No chill.
Yeah. Like I'm like very much a control freak. Like I'm very much of the mentality of like unless I'm doing it, like it's not gonna get done. So like if someone like pauses for 1 second, I'm doing their job for them. Like I it's like the only way to get something done is if you're the person doing it yourself. Yeah. In my experience and opinion.
Right.
So I don't know. That also like, I don't know, maybe it's like more of a psychological thing and I need to see a therapist, but no, like I am such a major control freak and like I almost like wouldn't let anyone touch it.
Yeah. No,
even if they were to do a better job potentially, like nah, like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Don't come to me for therapy advice, but I don't think that's I don't think that that's a cause for it, because with everyone that I've worked with up to this point, like that's just the reality of it. And it's a number, I mean, it's probably like my first tip that I give to anyone who's like, I just want to edit. It's like, you have to be willing to check that ego completely at the door. Like if you need that, like if you have a side of you that has kind of that Danny flair, and I have it too, like you have to have other avenues to let that out. Yeah. Because if you're working as an editor, like it's not your vision. Your job is like, there's creativity there, but your job is to make the vision. And that's like a tough pill to swallow, right? Because a lot of times you're like, no, I want to be creative. And it's like, no. Like you are creative, but it's not the way you think so. So
yeah, like I was traditionally like a director of photography. Like I was doing a lot of DP and cinematography work before. Yeah. I kind of transitioned over into directing my own stuff. I just remember sitting there and like always feeling like I would do it differently, or like I just like always remember like feeling like this isn't my project. At the end of the day,
Yep.
like no matter what I do, or like, you know, if the director tells me like this needs to be brighter, like I gotta make it brighter.
Yeah.
You know, it's like part of the job. So I don't know. It's just like never, yeah, like I just like need to do stuff myself. Like even like having a DP on this was tough. Like I never like really like on my own projects gave someone else the reins of the DP, and like that didn't work out at first. And like had to hire like another person. Yeah, it's like it's like probably my fault because I am a control freak.
Yeah.
So that was tough. So yeah.
Yeah.
Even like on the next one, like I'll probably have like the same person who DP'd Itis do the next one, but I'll probably have a lot more control over the camera, just like operating and stuff.
Would you shoot the next one on just an FX3, or would you use a Venice
I wouldn't
again?
not. Yeah, I wouldn't not. I definitely wouldn't shoot it on the 24-70. Like I'd probably have to like, I'd probably want to get some nicer lenses. Like it's a little too clean of a look for me. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the image, man.
No,
It's like,
no.
yeah, it's like our colorist Cameron Marigold. He's like an incredible colorist.
Yeah.
He did the film. I feel bad for him because like he did like his thing on the color, and I was like, I wanted to like pull back from like the film look a little bit and like kind of make it like a little more like commercially looking, just for like marketability and like to fit the tone of the film a little bit better. But like he like crushed the color, and I like made him dial it back, so I felt bad. But he's like incredible colorist.
Yeah.
I asked him originally, I was like, is it gonna be difficult for you to like pair the Venice with the FX3 footage? He's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, he like couldn't even tell the difference, and like, you know, and that was even like we shot with Cooks on the Venice, and like we didn't have the adapter for the FX3, so we just shot like with the 24-70.
Yeah.
Pretty much for the most part. And even like with the lens, like people could like barely tell the difference. Like you probably couldn't tell what was shot on the FX3 or what was shot on the Venice. So
Not for a
I don't
second.
see why not. It just offers way more flexibility. Like,
Yeah. Totally.
and especially now since it's like not that it matters, like, but it's like a Netflix approved camera. Like you can use it, and like they, not to bring up the creator because that's like all anyone talks about with the FX3 anymore.
Yeah.
But like Greg Fraser's like a sick DP and like had a great time with it, you know. And it's like I like to think he saw some of my YouTube videos and decided to use it, but
Dude,
it probably didn't happen.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't asking like I kind of wanted to tee you up for that response, because it's like, of course, like I couldn't tell. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Like just like that's, and I think, you know, and maybe this could lead us into again kind of the YouTube tangent. I mean, everything you've made before this movie of recent discography, like the golf video, the Bose commercial, like that's all shot on the FX3, and it looks amazing.
Yeah. Well,
and,
the Bose was both Venice and FX3. But
it was okay.
Yeah, if you go deeper, like the Rafa cycling video, like the New Balance baseball stuff, like all that stuff. That's just like straight FX3,
and it looks amazing. It's all just about how you use it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I have like beta version firmware. Like I don't even like have the V5 firmware on this thing. It's like I don't know how to upgrade it. Like it just like works. Like I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, you're like, it turns on and it records. That's all I need.
Yeah. My FX3 has like extreme water damage. Like I'm looking inside the lens right now, and there's just you can see visible water markings like inside the lens. Like the sensor is filthy. like just like all the buttons are like have like just like dirt on them. Like it's just nicked up left and right. Like love this thing. Yeah, it's like back to like the like Premiere. Like I don't want to like it's editing's hard enough. Like I don't want to like have anything to distract me. Like going out and shooting is hard enough. Like keeping the gear for me like as simple as possible like is always the best option in my mind. Just like being able to capture whatever I want to capture without any limitations has been helpful. So yeah, like people are always asking me like, are you gonna get the FX6 or like the Burano or like are you gonna like get something else? I'm like,
no way.
If Sony wants to send another FX3, I'll take it. But like, I'm just gonna use this until it dies.
I had written down maybe talking about the punch at the end, but I don't know if there's anything super interesting there or anything you wanted to talk about editing wise. I wrote down music. We didn't really cover music or sound design, so I don't know. That could potentially be a good topic if there's something there that you feel
I'm like
could be juicy.
Yeah, I'm like a big sound designer guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you could have a bad edit saved by sound design almost. Like,
Sure.
like adding like a little punch of sound to like any like action or like a little bit of Foley to any like clothes rustle or, you know, footstep or like, you know, even someone like turning their head and you get like a slight sound of air movement. Like that can just like so dramatically increase the look and feel of whatever it is you're making.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something I've done since like even my first videos. I was like hardcore about sound design because my older cousin Danny, who's ironically also named Danny, which is like a weird move by my parents to name, because I came afterwards. Like what a weird move to like name like after your nephew.
Dude,
but I digress.
Yeah, a little cutthroat there. Going for the cousin's name.
But he's like, I think he's like 7-8 years older than me.
Okay.
But he was always a filmmaker and like he's a director out in LA. And I just remember like before I even got into this, watching his movies, and his sound design was like always so engaging to me. So like even for my first films, I like wanted to like be like my cousin Danny and like trying to like really beef up the sound design, which like it sounded terrible at the beginning, but yeah, like all like even on little films, like once I have my picture lock, I'll spend like 2 full days just sound designing the crap out of my films. Like I'm in here with like my own Foley pit, like I have a bin with rocks that I'll like step on, and like I'll get like pretty heavily into it. I just like, I don't know, it's fun for me.
And I was actually going to ask if you had like a little place to do your own Foley, or if you like mostly find it all online. That is.
I mean, I just do
sick.
everything like in this like area. Like I don't have my own office or anything. Like I wish I had my own shed like you. Like that's my dream to like buy it. Like we still like rent right now and like trying to figure out housing. Not today's market. Who can, you know, who can afford a house?
Yeah.
But I want to eventually get a house with a yard and like build like a little office in the backyard, and like me and Sans to just like go to work in the morning. But right now we're just like in a spare bedroom that we always try to get like a 2-bedroom like apartment or condo or something.
Yeah.
And like I can't, like the walls in here are yellow, like I can't change them. Like it looks disgusting, you know?
Yeah.
So I can't wait to just have my own space. But yeah, like everything from even editing the movie, like most of the editing just took place right here.
Right there. Yeah.
With this laptop, different monitor. I had a worse monitor at the time.
Okay.
Use these speakers, these Atom Audio speakers.
Yeah.
Which they just like sent for free, and they're like unbelievable.
Sweet.
Yeah, but that's it. It's like used a hard drive that was too slow.
Yeah. Okay. That was my next question. How many terabytes, and how were you, like, was it all, did you have to do it in chunks? Or you just used a big G RAID?
Yeah, I just used this.
Oh my God. How many terabytes?
Yeah, let's see. It says, let's do this one. This camera.
Yeah.
It's not focusing. This is ITIS RAID 1 on it.
ITIS RAID 1.
This is 40 terabytes.
Okay.
Yeah, 40 terabytes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, compared to like an SSD, like this thing is like historic.
Yeah.
Like it's so loud. It's like, like making all these noises and stuff.
I was gonna say before, you just like you just kill it.
Yeah, I just drop it in this random puddle that I have on the ground in my office. I have a Foley pit of water.
I needed some pool Foley for the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we also had a mix team and sound design team that helped with the movie Dragonfly Audio Post. So they took like my amateur sound design skills and like beefed it up even more.
Oh, like you exported like all the audio tracks and then they went in and did their match. Did they add anything or they were just mixing?
They added a ton of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I went in with them and like it was pretty cool to watch like real Foley artists like do their thing.
Yeah.
Like they have like a special jacket that they use for like like clothing and like I don't know. I actually learned like a ton of stuff that I was able to implement into like future stuff.
Yeah.
That I was pretty excited about.
A special jacket. That's like, is it Adam Savage or someone was super famous who used to work in the old school modeling special effects world and could like tell you a very specific modeling piece that they used like 1,000 times to make like little miniatures. And it was like, I just love those tidbits because it's just like the most random little thing, but it's like, no, this is the one. This is this jacket, this, Columbia or whatever. Like, this is the best sounding jacket.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's there's like you ever been on like Instagram Reels and there's like the one reel where the girl's like talking about like do you ever think about what your man's doing right now? It's like a guy going through like every like whoosh sound design.
Yep.
It's like that's literally yeah.
Yeah, dude. Which is funny because some of them suck. Like you would think that whooshes could all sound great, but some of them are terrible.
You definitely know when you get the right whoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, it's just like human nature. Like you just know when a sound feels right.
So I mean, wow, like what a insane experience. And I mean, I'm just hearing about it from you. You lived it. Wild. Like what's next, man? Like what were the takeaways from this? Like is there like an overall like lesson learned? Like what's Danny doing from here? Because it's just we're all, I mean, I'm a big fan, so I want to know,
The movie was hard, right? Like it took like a financial toll on me. It took an emotional toll on me. Like I made a lot of friends. I lost a lot of friends. Like it was really hard. Like it was a really hard thing. Even showing it to people is like a hard thing, just like on a day-to-day basis. And like hopefully like by the time like this releases, it's like close to being released or has been released, and like just know that I'm like struggling, like just knowing that there's like people out there watching it at will. So like I don't know, it was a hard thing. But like I said, like I did this to just prove to myself like can I make this or can I not make this? Like if this is something that I want to try to do in the future, like I gotta see if I can even try it or even make it to begin with. And like I did it at such an early age. Like I started writing a script at like the end of 26 or something, and like I'm 30 now.
Yeah.
So like I wrote something that was like way worse than I'd probably write right now, and like I'm still showing it at the age of 30. So I don't know. It's just like something that I did just like to prove to myself that I can make it, and like the fact that it works is great, and like I'm excited about it. But now it's like there's like this expectation for me to like keep making like huge movies and like big productions like that. But like right now I'm just trying to like enjoy the release of this one the best I can. I'm trying to make more YouTube videos and just like short form content and experience with different styles and different ways of doing things. I've done like a bunch of commercial work already this year, product release videos for brands that have been keeping me busy this year, and just trying to like make some money after spending so much on the movie, and like just making sure like I'm financially in a comfortable position. I always find that it's like hard for myself to like really freely create when like I'm just thinking about like money and like kind of like stressing out about like life aspects, I guess, which like so this year was like kind of dedicated to just like, all right, doing YouTube and like getting back to like the audience, because I've kind of been like half-assing the YouTube channel a little bit. So just trying to like make better content and just like try new things and new projects. And obviously I started writing the next one in bits and pieces. I don't have like a deadline for myself, just like writing scenes here and there. It's like pretty fun concept already. If I've learned one thing from the last movie, I'm gonna make this one way simpler. And, like, less people, more me at my core, and like just like I don't know. I learned how to make a movie, but more so I learned how not to make a movie. So bring that all those lessons that I took from Midas and to the new one, I feel like it should be a lot more of a positive experience, just like all the way through.
And I want to make it clear, like, definitely was not wanting any hard commitments or like any anxiety.
Yeah,
I'm just a fan. I know everyone
Yeah.
is just a fan. Even if you just said I'm just making YouTube videos, like all of us are over here
Right.
like 2 thumbs up. I think mostly what I was getting
Whoa.
at. Oh,
It's fireworks behind you.
No, but all of that to say, like, I think that's what I was getting at, is because, like, I mean, you did go in with just this exploratory mindset, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So if you literally, like, today were like, Jake, I'm never doing this again, like, me and 1,000 other people would be like, yeah, that makes total sense. It's crazy, right? So it's the fact that you're even thinking about doing another one, to me, is fascinating. And take your time, you know, make it right and do it how you want to do it.
It's almost like doing the first one, I kind of like tore down like the mythical beast that is a feature-length narrative movie, you know? Like, it's not so scary anymore, and it's like, I know I can do it. I know I can do it better than the first time around.
What is I feel like I've heard this saying somewhere, learn, make, repeat. Someone says that.
Isn't that Maddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the executive producer on the film.
His name
he's
is
got that like neon sign
slapped up on your movie.
Yeah, dude, thank God for Maddie, man. That guy's like a guardian angel. Like, without him, I would have had the funds to make the movie at the time.
yeah That's so cool.
So,
so cool.
You should try to get him on this.
Well, maybe. I don't know. He's quitting, so maybe he doesn't want to come talk to me.
He's not quitting. But he's like I think he's just like done with like YouTube in the way that he felt like he was just like kept like doing the same thing over and over again. Like, sure. I know Maddie, he's got like a million ideas of like what he's gonna do next. So
Danny, my man, thank you so much for coming on today. This was a blast. I love peeling back the curtain. I'm such a nerd for this stuff. So just thank you so much for coming on today. Let us know, you know, for those of you for some reason who don't know who you are, let us know where we can find you on the internet. And thank you again so much, man.
Yeah, if anything, it's like, don't look for me, just look for the movie if it's out.
Okay.
Or I'm sure it's coming out.
And the movie is called I Think I'm Sick, which I don't know if we've said once so far.
Yeah. Just like go to itisfilm.com.
Okay.
It'll probably be linked in my Instagram, Danny Gevirtz. It'll probably be all over my YouTube channel, Danny Gevirtz. Don't feel like you need to watch any of my videos. If you watch one video, just watch my movie.
Yes, perfect.
And just watch Jake's channel. All right, dude. I gotta pee pretty bad.
I gotta pee so bad, but no.
Yeah, I just slugged all that water at the beginning.
Yeah, so much water. But
am I cool to cut on the?
Yeah, cut on cam.